Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the Allyship Diaries. I'm Lyka, and I'm so glad you're here with us. This series is all about real voices and real stories from persons with disabilities and from allies who walk beside them. These stories will help us move from sympathy to empathy, and by simply helping us to truly understand. As someone who lives with disability, I know how people mean well, but sometimes may not always know how to show support in ways that empower rather than limit. That's why today's conversation matters. For our first episode is called Love, Not Labels, supporting family and friends who are PWD. I am honored to be joined by Miss Leslie, a parent who has walked a deeply personal journey with her child who lives with ADHD. Her story is filled with honesty, love, and growth. Hello, Miss Leslie. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Hi, Laika. Thank you for inviting me to this episode of Allyship Diaries. Very excited to um, share my story with everyone.
All right. To start us off, could you tell us a little about your child, what makes them unique, and of course, how their journey began?
Okay, sure. So my child is not exactly very young anymore. She's actually, she's graduating college um, with a degree in Bachelor of Fine Arts. And so that said, she loves art. She's very bright and bubbly. She's very passionate about traditional and digital arts. She loves creating jewelry and those small baubles. Because to her art keeps her grounded. It's what keeps her it's really what calms her down and helps her to focus. 'Cause you see, I think we mentioned earlier that my daughter has attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or what is commonly known as ADHD. So the term ADHD is very loosely used these days when people can't sit still. Sometimes they say I have ADHD, and that's partially true, but that's just one part of the entire the number of symptoms of somebody who has ADHD. Um, when I asked my daughter what it was like, or what it is like for her, she told me that sometimes it's like having 50 Google Chrome browsers open, um, and you can't find that one browser that you need to get a resource from. So I really thought that, given that description, it's really very challenging for her to to cope with certain situations at times.
All right, that's very slay. She's artsy. And also, thank you for giving us an idea of what ADHD is. So, when you started to realize and understand the things that you're not so child anymore, kid, what was it like as a parent for you?
Oh, like like any parent, right? You would want your children to grow up to be normal, or what we describe
Mm-hmm.
as normal in our
Yes.
society, right? um she was diagnosed with ADHD during the height of the pandemic, the COVID pandemic. So that was around 2020, 2021. um and at that time, it's a very that is a very special time, right? Because a lot of people were experiencing a lot of mental breakdowns. They were feeling overwhelmed. A lot of them were feeling burnt out. And I thought initially that she was just part of that demographics. However, when she talked to me about her struggles, I was compelled uh, to have her checked by a psychiatrist. And so when the diagnosis was communicated to me, I was overwhelmed at the start because of a lot of things. There's this stigma about mental health that's still true these days, despite the fact that we're making mental health resources available to everyone. There's still that stigma. Um, of course, I also feared for her future. Like, is she going to be accepted in college, or what is she going to be like after college and all that? Um, but as I was, thinking about those things, uh, I could also see how she was starting to really struggle with submitting her tasks and assignments in school. Not to mention, at that time we only had to mail our college application. So, I was, you know, I thought if I don't give her the right support, right, she might miss out on the opportunity to go to the college of her choice. Also, I thought I one of the things that I also kept in mind was the fact that um, this is my child, right? She's my daughter. Regardless of whether she has any disability or not, I'm still gonna love her because she is mine. So, instead of looking at instead of considering what the society would think of her, um, I just chose to support her. I just chose love over what society thinks. And um, I, because of that, I was able to help her cope, because I was able to talk to a family counselor who happens to be a friend of mine. She gave me resources. So um, we were able to put some structure in in her life, in her workday, which helped her cope with you know, with the many things that distract her. It's what, keeping a schedule, keeping a task list that she can, cross out every time she would achieve something was really very helpful.
Yes, and I feel like what you've said, mental health is still a taboo topic, especially here in the Philippines. And I can only imagine how being in those early stages, it can be overwhelming, especially when you wanted to help your child and you still don't know what she's going through at that time. Speaking of college, as you mentioned, she is actually graduating. Um, so in those early stages, what was it like? The challenges, or how did you try to support her entering college?
Well, she was when she was about to go to college, or to start college. We had to sit down because I didn't want her to be very dependent on me for a lot of things, especially when it comes to decision making. I wanted to give her the freedom to choose, um, to make her own decisions, rather, and to also fail if she has to fail, right? Because these are going to be lessons that she will carry with her through life. So we sat and talked about how our dynamics was going to be like. I told her that she's free to make her own decisions, and I will be there to guide her, to give her advice, and all that. um struggled uh struggled off the bat, because um she was given the freedom to choose her subjects, and um she chose to fill her Mondays and Thursdays uh to the brim, so to speak. Like, she had six subjects at that time, um for those 2 days, so that she can free up Wednesday and she wouldn't have to go to school. um and despite me asking her if she was sure that she can handle it, she proceeded with that. So we struggled because Mondays and Thursdays meant that she had foreign language, chemistry,
Oh
physical
wow,
education. Um,
fully loaded.
yes, fully loaded without any breaks. And so, but it was a decision that she made, right? And my role as a parent was just to make sure that she was okay, she's able to cope, without necessarily having to interfere with her life, and having to go to the school and talk to the professors and whatnot. I would cheer her on from a distance, um, and comfort her when she cries because she's overwhelmed. But other than that, I let her make her own decisions. I let her, uh, create her own strategy so that she can survive. Probably wear it, but she would be grumpy the whole time.